Hello, everyone, and welcome to Neecee Lexy. If you have noticed, we have a special guest with us here today. So, this episode season, we've been going around the world bringing you the best talented, the boss CEO in the list. And today, we have our own boss lady who's going to be joining us today. She is the founder of NubiCollections by BothDol, and it was also established for unique classic designs, authentic and contemporary occasions pieces, as well as weddings and custom design. She's also previously was in weeks, as well as the ANKARA Festival LA 2014 and 2015. So you have a lot to be sharing with us today, but most importantly, she is the founder and the CEO of Mediterranean Vibe Entertainment, which is one of the artists that you guys have noticed in our previous interviews. Without further ado, let's welcome her, and please, Nyamal, how are you doing?
I am well. Happy Sunday.
And it to you too. I'm excited to be having you here. I heard a lot of great things about you. So I'm like, hey, might as well bring the boss lady on the town.
Thank you. I didn't expect them to be saying anything about me, but cool.
All, let's kick it back. Let's take it back. Welcome to our show. And then for our viewers who are meeting you for the first time, either in Canada and globally, who is Nyamal?
All right. So let's see where to start. I guess I could realize I could be really shy, behind interviews. So that's part of me as a child. I've always been like this super introvert, very shy person. Yeah. Didn't really start talking until like high school, end of high school.
Yeah.
So I honestly did not expect, to be out in the industry and be active as I am, because, I've always been that type of person who criticizes herself more and harder than anything, or like have doubts, if I do this, I'm going to fail,
Yeah.
But I am from Ethiopia. I was born in Gambela region, which is another, north region, separated, from South Sudan. Same tribe, just on the other side of the border. And I've been mostly in the USA. This is where I've grown up and went throughout my whole entire school, and then went to college for apparel technology, which is the program that I have established with NubiCollections and also Nubie Ultimate Runway for marketing and branding of the designs. And right now I am based in Minnesota, which is not far from Canada, actually. We're kind of neighbors.
Yes.
Not far from Minneapolis either. So this is where I've been living most of my life. Once I get stuck in one place, I get stuck in one place. So
you're like, no change. Good here.
No change. Yeah.
Amazing. It's really nice to meet you, as well as like getting to know you a little bit. I know you mentioned that you done some of your collections when you went to school. So can you tell us about that specific, the Nubian collections? What was the inspiration behind it, and how did you even come about it?
Yeah, it actually started off in ninth grade, 9th or 10th grade.
Yeah.
I was always interested in fashion as a kid. I'm really admired by the designs, the beauty, just the things that you see in the industry as a whole, Yeah. And, as a kid, it's always a dream, like one day I want to be like this, or I want to do this. So in high school, I would make my own clothes each day to school. And that's where the trend kind of started to pick up, because other kids would start asking, like, where did you buy this? Where did you buy this? Yeah. And because I made it myself, I was ashamed to say I made it. Yeah. So I just tell them, I forgot the name of the store. And then they're like, okay, when you remember, please let us know. So it took me until a newspaper, the rumor went so far out to the point a newspaper had to come out and interview me. Yeah. So we did the interview, and this is where I knew I had no choice. I had to admit that I did it, you know? Yeah. And then from there, it just took off. And then when I was done with high school,
Yeah.
you know, like myself, I'm always scared that if I start something, I'm gonna fail. So I'll never start.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who was recruiting for a contestant in pageants. So I was doing a lot of pageants at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was conceived with my first child, I could no longer do pageants. So he saw one of my work and said, how about you showcase these at the pageant event, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And from there, it just took off. And then I did my first show, Mall of America, and it became an actual brand. And that's when I started to put my foot down and recreate the vision and the mission to have, it was called BothDol fashion at the time. Yeah. Before I reestablished the NubiCollections, because at the time I didn't know exactly what I was doing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was just making a mixture of the African fashion and the Western world to create something modern for like our age mate, our youth, you know, so we're not wearing our mother's clothes all the time. So yeah, so that's where I started. And then when I re-established it, this is when I took 2 years off. I stopped fashion designing. I just gave up on the dream. And decided to travel the world. Mm-hmm. So I went to about 5 different countries within 3 months period or so on. Mm-hmm. And then I started to observe the fashion, the culture. And from there, then I came back and said, you know what, I'm going to call this NubiCollection because there's a huge historical history about Nubia, people of color as a whole, as they aspire to other different regions, you know, from the old ancient time of the Kush kingdom. Yeah.
Amazing. I love the whole journey and just kind of like, you know, even traveling the world to discover yourself and then coming back, be like, you know what, this is what I'm meant to do. And then kind of like doing it. But something that you actually resonate with me the most, it was like the fact that when you start doing your thing, you weren't saying it, you did it. I had similar things. So in high school, throughout university, whenever I love to do my own hair. So even this, like I would create some of my own wig and like my own stuff. So whenever I do it, people will ask me like, how did you do it? Even some of my graphic design work, I always used to say my friend. Like I would say, they were like, okay, who's that friend?
Who's that friend? Now you gotta go find a friend.
Yeah, and then my older sister, the one who was like, one of these days, they're gonna know who that friend is. So you have to like kind of, you're doing really good. So take ownership of what you do.
That moment will always come. It's gonna come to the light eventually.
Yeah, so being a shy kid definitely kind of like gives you a sense of like, you know, artistic mind, but at the same time, it's like sometimes our creativity speaks for itself. So that's the same thing for you. It's like, you know what, even though you were shy, but the stuff that you were doing, it was like strong enough to have its own voice, and then you just kind of like follow along. So it's good. I love that story.
Thank you.
And I would say, I wanted to ask you, so obviously growing up, you love fashion and everything that you do is surrounding the fashion and creativity. Who was your biggest influencer growing up that you looked up, you're like, you know what, I could do that? Tyra Banks.
And then one of the supermodel from our country, Leah Kaveri. Oh. So Leah Kaveri, she really struck me a lot. You know, it was like the only supermodel I can actually relate to, you know, a little bit. So I was inspired a lot by her and Tyra Banks for what they have done in the industry.
Yeah, they're a phenomenal woman for sure. So
I mean, now I don't know where Tyra is or what's going on in her life. So
she has a baby, and I think she's doing some ice cream collection things that she's up to. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, business that she's doing.
I'll have to get on that more. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about your role in the music industry. First of all, you have a production management, which is the MVE. For those who don't know, is the Mediterranean Vibe Entertainment. So tell us more about that.
All right. So This was something that caught me off guard, and I think a lot of my people, they have been watching me for a long time, in what I do with like NubiCollections, Nubie Ultimate Runway. And I really had no idea, there's a saying that you just keep doing what you're doing, you never know who's watching, right? Yeah. So when I came with the Nubie Ultimate Runway, me and my friends, we had a little homecoming. It was like an all white, get together. But it was supposed to be 10 of us, and then it ended up being 6 of us, which was great anyway.
Yeah.
And it was fun. We had a great time. So then I brought up the idea that, okay, how about we do an actual like social fun night, all music, and just look cute, look classic or whatever, have a good time, drink, network with your friends, and that would be called Mediterranean Vibe,
Classic.
And my friend was like, did you just call that name out of nowhere? Like, what's behind this, I was like, dude, it makes sense, Like, okay, there's African music, there's Latino music, there's Arabian music, there's all these kind of music, surrounding the whole entire Mediterranean Sea. And Mediterranean Sea is what connects all of us, So if we have that party, we'll have everybody, If the Latino people come, there'll be Latino music. If African come, there'll be African music, And then because the planning was still so long, and then the boys started to contact me. First was Alyeso. Alyeso was the first artist that reached out to me.
Yeah.
And if I'm trying to remember correctly, I think it was through my live streams. I might have said something that triggered them, to start reaching out to me. And so then I said, yeah, if you have a story, please share your story. Let's hear what's going on in your life, So now all these stories start coming in. Yeah. And Alyeso was one of the first to share his story. And then he had talked about the music, how things are unfair in South Sudan, the discrimination, the unbalance of promos, things like that. And so I listened to the whole thing and I said, okay, thank you for your input, but I'm not interested. And then he said, he was like, well, please think about it. We really need someone who can help us. All we need is management and the financial system. We have everything here, Yeah. And so I was like, all right, I'll get back to you when I think about it. So I think it took me about 6 months to finally consider it. And because I have to like go in my own corner and judge myself, like, can I do this? Can I actually do this? I have to be sure with myself first if it's doable, And then 6 months later, I came back to him and I said, okay, how about this? I already started a program called Mediterranean Vibe. How about I just turn that into a music management, And then we'll just go from there and see how, things goes and turned out, Yeah. But there's this rule. This is what I know so far. So I'm actually jumping into something that I don't know what the outcomes are going to be. So you guys are going to have to bear with me, And then he was like, yeah, sure, no problem, And then me and Alyeso, we started the whole thing, Then he immediately went to the studio. Then he created the song Nubian Queen. And then sent it to me. And when I heard it, and I was like, wow, this is cool. I really like it. I fell in love with the song. Yeah. And the fact that he was so, ambitious and like really dedicated to do it. I mean, he didn't ask for anything to do all that extra work. I just said, show what you got. And he brought it through and I liked it. And then I said, okay, let's do an album. So we just went on and created his first album. And it was amazing. I was very happy for him. And I think that's where like the spirit started to like really sink in, Like there's real talents. They need real help. Really gave it to God and said, you know what, if this is what you want me to do, then I leave it on you. I count on you, guide me, give me the strength, give me all the knowledge, everything that I need in order to make this happen. So that's how the whole Mediterranean Vibe started.
Wow.
And then,
that's amazing. I actually love what you guys do as a brand. It's really amazing. Continue on doing it because I feel like there's just so much talent that lives down there, but we don't
Yeah.
have people to kind of bring it into the mainstream to make sure that it's seen, you know. That's why you see a
Mhm.
lot of the Western Africa are like thriving, whereas the East African music is really not being seen a lot. So for you,
Yes.
for your platform, it's like this is a chance for them to for the world to actually start seeing their creativity and see their talent. So you guys are doing
Yeah.
things, and we love to share your stories because this is also another chance for people to be like, oh yeah, MVE is actually has a lot of great artists that we can tune into and vibe, you know. So
Yeah.
good job on that platform and that as well.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
still bringing
And
more there.
I'm very grateful for them, you know, like I think after Alyeso, I didn't expect many artists to come through and reach out to me.
Yeah,
And then more artists started to reach out, and that's when I knew and realized that okay, this is going to be a management group, you know,
yeah,
because there's just so much underrated talents in South Sudan,
yeah,
and things are still beginning. So just trying to create a balance and a fairness for them as well.
yeah. And
So
especially for the country being young, there is
yes,
so much road for you guys to go ahead and establish that and actually grow it. And then
that's
whenever
true too.
the young people start coming in, this is where you guys can actually be the pioneer of kind of like growing that momentum, you know? So it's
Mm,
good. Yeah. Um,
yeah.
so being in the fashion as well as the music industry, what would you say is your most memorable moments? Like you like, wow, I could do this.
That's challenging. My most memorable
Or
moments.
yeah, or a moment
Hmm.
you just like sitting back, you're like, wow, I have done this.
Um, I would say, well, with the fashion part, I'll say with my show,
Yeah.
um, last year, uh, last year it was, last year, I think it was, it took me like 3 days to recover, or maybe 7 days,
Oh
you
wow.
know? Yeah. Because the productions is like, you get to learn a lot as you go. Sometimes they get so overwhelming and then you feel like you can't do it. You
Yeah.
know, you can't accomplish, you can't go with this any further, you know? But then at the end of the show, even till today, when I watch the videos from like the finale walk,
Hmm.
like there's just this tears of joy, you know? Yeah. And when I look at it, like I did this, you know? Yeah. And so, and the designs look amazing. The model like walked with grace and perfectly. And then at the end of the show, like all of a sudden, we're all in a group hug,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah. And that's where, you know, sometimes I have to feel in deeper, like they really feel this. They are happy, you know? And then that's where I'll take it to myself and say, okay, so I'm actually doing something. I actually accomplished something, you know? And
Yeah.
then that's where I can go skipping la la away and be like, I did it, you know? It was done.
All that is
Yeah.
strength and everything. You're like, oh, my baby's growing.
Yeah. With music, I would say the moment is still to come. You know, I feel like we're still doing a lot of development. Like we're down with the hardest stage of development and also managing the artists, even with like, you know, advices, encouragement, things, you know, because there's so many things that they need, you know,
Yeah.
that I'm always finding myself in doing with them, you know.
Mhm.
But as far as the video production, things have gone so much better and so much advanced. Even though the first video Juvenile was like super good, you know,
Yeah.
compared to like the last video we have now by TTI going do is like super good too. And then Dede in the middle, mixing both technology of the both world, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm very grateful of the team that I have. You know, I give it to them. And I think that's where my biggest momentum to comes in with that. Because if it wasn't for their creativity and their part,
Mhm.
I cannot accomplish these things, you know? Yeah. my job is just to manage and like direct them, like your schedule days here, this is your location, make sure you kill it, bring your energy, don't be shy, like all the lectures, you know, that's my job.
Pep talk is needed in anything.
Yeah. But however the video is going to turn out,
Yeah,
is up to the producer. However the energy is going to come out is up to the artist, you know?
yeah.
And I think with this last video, like tears just fell down in my eyes. I called the producer. I was like, you know what? If I never say I love you, I just want to say I love you.
Aww.
And if I actually said that, like this is the whole entire vision came together. And I can't even explain how good that feels, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just shy away and like, you know, I'll giggle a little bit and then we'll figure it out later.
Everything.
Yeah. So I give it up to them. I really give it to them. And that's where the biggest joy comes. You know?
It takes a whole village to raise a child, and I feel like you as a team make it so effortless, and then you guys actually working together, that's why you're able to do dope things, you know? So just continue on that and more to come.
Yes, more to come. I think my biggest moment is when they hit that big stage on the world tour or US tour or whatever. That's what we're waiting for.
Are you bringing them in US to do like tour there as well?
Yeah, it's definitely a plan, you know, somewhere down the line. Right now I'm currently doing training with some of my partners that I work with here, where we brought, you know, some of the major artists, where the last major one was Diamond Platinum, and then other major artists. And I got to observe, because I was never really the type of person to go to concerts. Yeah. You know? Even these artists, I know their music, but I never really pay attention to who they are. And I think that's something like we just have naturally, you know, as a human being. Yeah. We like this, don't know who the artist is. And when I started getting involved in the concert theme, this is where I started to learn a whole different side of music, you know? And my partner that I work with, Archie Berry, so I'm gonna give him a shout out on that. Yeah. He's been like really giving me advice and tips and guiding me and things that needs to be done. So once I master it and we're good, then yeah, we can, you know, get to that level where we could bring the Mediterranean Vibe artists on a tour. So
that's really good, big plans. I look forward to seeing all things.
Thank you.
Yeah. So obviously with pandemic and all, like the whole global shutdown in 2020, a lot of the industry, like whether it's fashion, music, it got impacted so much. How were you guys able to stay creative and kind of move with the momentum? Because you did release a couple of music video with your team during the pandemic. So were you guys able to like mentally and like as a team be like, you know what, this is what we're gonna do and this is how we're gonna stay current?
Yeah, on my side it's easier. All I have to do is just chill at home and direct them, right?
Man, love it.
So for their part over there, I think when they were shooting Alyeso's video, Dedem, it was during a time where there was so much restrictions, and even in the car there was only allowed 2 people. Yeah. So we're like, okay, well, if we can't do it, we can't do it, you know, we don't need to pressure it, you know, the video can wait, the whatever. But sometimes the artists, you know, it's like they're so anxious that they feel like if we stop now and we don't make it happen, it may not happen, you know? And so I was like, no, you have my word, it's gonna happen regardless. If it doesn't happen now, it could still happen in 4 months, you know? So let's just wait till all this to pass. Otherwise, if you guys can figure it out, go for it, you know? Do your thing. So I think they figured out somehow. And the artists had to learn at that moment that they had to realize that, okay, you know what? There's a limited of people in the car. So it's just me. It's just the artist. Like, don't bring your entourage with you to the video shoot. There's no need for it, you know? Yeah. Yeah. So especially, you know, with the cap of the restriction, now you gotta just focus on the priority, you know? And start leaving down the rest. So it was definitely, a learning process too as well for the artists also, because any video shoot you go to, you don't need to bring your whole entire friends, because everybody's gonna want to come. Everybody's gonna want to see how your theme is like, And I started to notice that they get fascinating with it, but it's like, sorry, due to the limit that we have to keep, this is what we have to do. Yeah. But one day Patrick will have to tell more story on that. Patrick Miles, who's our music production, he's the guy behind all the videos and just pulling everything together. He's pulling a lot of strings. Yeah,
doing amazing. He's doing a phenomenal job. I would love to see the, like sometimes as a video editor, it's like you go into deep escape of reality just to kind of like visualize things that the ordinary person would not think about it, and then once you something else, I wanted to see that man behind the visuals.
Yes. Yeah. I even told them too. I told them recently, like 2 weeks ago, I was like, in the future, you guys are gonna start reporting behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I gotta see what's happening,
For sure. Especially his visual effect, like the after effect for the Dede video. Those are sick.
He's definitely the guy who's been going through a lot behind all the video production and dealing with the artists over there. He's located in Kampala, Uganda, where most of the artists are also from there as well. So they pretty much just run and go do their own thing through the pandemic, play their cards right and all that stuff. And then all I have to do is just sit here and wait for the video. I'm always the one H is like, what's going on there? What's going on? I wish I was there, I wish I could carpool with you guys. Let's get stuff together,
Are you planning on going? Visiting there anytime soon?
Definitely. I'm definitely planning on going. Before the pandemic, I used to go to Africa every year, but this was mainly in Ethiopia. Yeah. So now with being connected with Uganda, so I might shift some of those trips and start going to Uganda a little bit more. Yeah. So let's hope, everything is like going well with the pandemic, with all these restrictions, that I won't get stuck in the country. I guess that's like my biggest fear, is getting stuck somewhere. Yeah. But I'll take the rest and hope on going this fall. That would be my first trip to Uganda ever. Awesome. And finally get to see all of these people I work with behind social media.
It's amazing how like social media is helping us connect with so many people that you didn't need yet, but then it's like just the new normal, But it was really nice for you to even go there and kind of like meet them for the first time and actually get to know the team and the vibe as well. Yeah, that was really cool.
I really can't wait for that day. And they're excited. They're like, we want to meet you in person. I was like, okay.
That'll be super fun. And then also maybe you get to put a show as well. You never know.
Definitely. Definitely.
So currently, are you working to add any international collaboration for your artists? What's the deal? What's that plan look like?
Eventually, yes. But right now at the moment, because Mediterranean Vibe is a very, very young company, like we only been around, it's gonna be a year in like February, March, kind of around that time. Yeah, so it's fairly new. And most of these artists that are under Mediterranean Vibe, they are starting from the ground up, where they have not, built their portfolio or their followers and things of that nature. Yeah. So everything is just coming up from the ground, and we, at this moment, we're just pushing all the streams. We are pushing all of the, their names out there more. So the more they get recognized, and once we see the numbers comes up more, then it will be a lot easier to start submitting them with some collabs with some of the artists that that we are connected to as well. So there's this saying that anything you do, you start at home. So with these artists starting with their nation of South Sudan, is to first overcome South Sudan and then expand to the regional, which is East Africa, and then eventually the whole Africa before you go out internationally.
Right.
So that will happen itself naturally. And with me being here in the Western world, my audience are very, very diverse. And I probably like just came into South Sudan last. It's like backward, you know?
It's like,
Yeah.
back
I
home.
built up everything from diversity and then now I'm back home, you know? And so it just shows me it's something I still have to complete to fulfill everything that I am doing, you know?
Yeah.
And that is the same thing with the artists. At least the good thing, they are starting at home, you know? So as they go up and get higher and their name gets out there more and they are more recognized, um, they will definitely have a shot with bigger collabos at somewhere down the line.
For sure. That's bound to happen. So I have no doubt in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope these big artists know that it is their duty to give it to the upcoming artists. It is their duty. It's a must. Yeah.
I feel like it's time for them to pass their baton. They can't be holding it all the time.
No, they can't hold it on, you know? Because once your time is done, then who's going to take over the music industry, you know? It is their responsibility.
For sure. So another thing I wanted to also like find out from you with regards to your collection, are we expecting any project, any events? What's going on with that for this year or upcoming?
Yes, there's definitely going to be an event.
Yeah.
So this is our annual event where we get to showcase the latest designs with NubiCollections. So with the event, it is created by theme. So our theme this year is Nubia, Nubian Queen.
Yeah.
And all of the designs that are going to be showcased there are the inspiration of that ancient time, according with the modern. And we usually have between 2 to 3 segments. So our segment this year is going to be very special occasion. That segment is covered with a lot of lace, chiffon, and mostly in like brighter colors, solid colors. So we'll have a color theme and then also the silhouette, the style theme. And then the second theme, which is the main highlight of the show, is Nubian Queen. So you'll have the guys come out, kind of how you see in the picture on the flyer that we had, with their Egyptian, accessories. And then also with the designs kind of having that color contrast, to represent that Africa nature of Nubia. And that's going to be on April 21st here in Minneapolis at one of our venues we've been working with for many years at 5 Event Center. Where last year we had Jewel of Africa. We had a spring collection. Yeah. So the spring collection represented floral, bright colors, anything in those floral. The guys wore like a really solid tunic colored shirts that represent that East African kind of an inspiration. Yeah. And the ANKARA fabric is actually made of all ANKARA, So we still always have that originated Africans and make it in a way that it fits for everyone else as well here, because America is a very, very diverse nation. And then the previous year before that, we had signature suits. So it was all suits, lady in suits, men in suits, and it was all made of ANKARA. So that was a big hit, including the hoodie, the ANKARA hoodies for the guys. Yeah. Those ones went out really fast. So once we're done showcasing that theme, then they get sold out throughout the year before we get to the next year.
I love this power suit theme. Definitely, that's my vibe.
That is your vibe, huh?
Boss lady.
You have to send me your sizes. We're going to make you an ambassador. We're going to talk on that.
Anything power suit, I love. For me, I'm like, my style is very simple, but it's like, I love denim pants, t-shirt, and a blazer and a high heels. That's That's my corporate style. I want to be able to go to the office, but also go to a boardroom with that outfit.
You're like very Chico,
Yeah.
classic Chico.
So when
I
you
like
said
that. Yeah.
all ANKARA suits, I was like, yes.
Absolutely. We're gonna touch base on that. We're gonna choose you an outfit.
Definitely can't wait.
One of NubiCollections' signature.
I'll represent definitely. So with
Yeah.
regards to the show, I know it's coming up in April. Where can people find you, buy your ticket and anything like of that nature?
Yes, we have our main link is at Eventbrite.
Mm-hmm.
So on Eventbrite, if you type in Newbie Ultimate Runway 2022, it should pull up on all Google aspects. And then also it's on Facebook as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a event link with all the details, the location, the time, and also the ticket links are there as well. So it's easier for everyone to just click on it and have access.
Mm-hmm.
And we have our main pages. Facebook is NubiCollections. So anyone who follows or goes to that page, they will find all of the event link, and they can just click on those as well, including Instagram. So Instagram is where most of our activities are happening with the fashion. So if you go Newbie Collection by BothDol on Instagram, we'll usually have an update and all the posts and the flyers and everything they need. And then on the profile where it says bio, the link is also on there. If it's not the direct ticket link, then it will be the website link. So the website will have everything you need to know, from the description to the theme to the ticket, whatever the audience expects.
Oh, awesome. So I will make sure to put all this information in the description below, as well as featuring in the article. So for those who wanted to get more detail about Nyamal and all the incredible things that she's doing, make sure to check all the information in the description, as well as visit our website at www.neecelexy.com, where I'll be featuring her full story. And without further ado, I just wanted to take this moment to thank you so much for coming here today. It's been a pleasure meeting you, getting to know all the incredible things that you're doing. And I wanted to see you and your team grow and become something really big in South Sudan and continue to inspire those artists and bringing more on the board, because I feel like we do need it. And from Neecee to me to you, I feel I wanted to be able to also support you guys in any way possible to make sure that your brand is getting recognized. So thank you so much for joining us today.
And I want to say thank you so much to you. I love your content. I love what you're doing. It's on my YouTube right away. Your video comes first. And I'm like, okay, I can't wait to go to work. I'm settled. I have my headphones on. Just watch the whole entire video. You're doing an amazing job. And I'm really, 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 really proud of you. It's such a wonderful feeling, to run into people that are doing, similar stuff, or they're also pushing their ambition, that empowerment that connects us as well. And thank you for having me on your program. It's definitely a privilege, and including some of our artists who have reached out to you. I really appreciate what you've done for them. So definitely keep it going. We're here. We're gonna keep writing all this together. So
you're
I just
most
want to give you that
welcome.
thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we're not too far from each other. So whenever you come down here,
I'll be in Canada, because there are some connections there that wants me to come. So I will come in Canada.
Yeah, as long as
you're in Toronto, right?
Yes.
I'll have a reason to be there again.
Oh, awesome. So see you soon, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.